Hi, everybody. So I want you to welcome Anya. She's one of our beautiful teachers and my friend. So we're going to talk about water today. So this has been a major request. And we're going to talk about all the kinds of water that we can think of. And we're also going to show you some video and pictures and all of that. So tell me what you were just saying. Let them know.
So there's a lot of information out there. I think it's like anything. You have to use your own discernment. You have to use your own interpretation and intuition to kind of look into what works best for you. Because financially, for me, it was not an option to get like a high brand water machine that costs thousands of pounds. I would absolutely love to be able to do that, but financially it's just not been an accessible option for me. So I had to look at the alternatives between like water filters and bottled waters and everything like that. And when I was doing my research on it energetically and tapping into my intuition and research on a human level, what I came to like a conclusion from my opinion is that originally the Earth was meant to be at more of an electronic magnetic pulse of a minus in the negative neutrons, in the negative charge. And with the things that have been going on in the weather and over time it not being in its natural state, I think that has consequently led to the Earth being at more of a neutral or positive charge, which has caused the water that we are consuming to be stagnant and more dull. And this is where we're getting, a lot, everything is down to the water, whether it's detoxification, healing the body, purification, activation. It's the life source, it's our life force energy. And that is obviously the main thing that has been altered and messed with, over time, to ensure that we don't have the optimum level, because we are made up of 90 or 90 odd percent water. So obviously, I can't remember what it was. So we've got that whole sense of our whole being connects with that. So that would be a prime thing for them to target over time, would be that. And then I think what's happening now is these kind of either machines or things like that are replicating the effect of a thunderstorm. So when we have a thunderstorm, the thunderstorm creates the negative neutron charge in the water and makes the water more ionized and alive. So when you're drinking it, you're actually getting the activation from that alive water rather than stagnated, dull water. So I definitely think that's, it's something to consider, that wherever we're getting us water from, a lot of the time, sometimes it might not be where it's said, or we might not know where it's, being brought in when it's out external sources. And there is, like I said, times where financially it's not an option to get, an ionized machine or mimicking a thunderstorm or to have access to that. So I would definitely look at blessing your water and setting a beautiful charge and intention on the water, because that can really raise the frequency. And you can always place crystals either inside or around or underneath the water to raise the frequency up, and and put like tiny bits of sea salt in the water to create the electrolytes, and lemon and things like that to raise the frequency of that water. If you're concerned about the water you're drinking, there is ways you can alter that in the short term, which is not going to necessarily negatively benefit you.
Yeah, exactly. So some things that are extraordinarily hydrating is fruit, and the composition of the water in the fruit is H3O2. So basically that is the kind of water that you contain in your body. So it matches. And I think one of the electrons actually falls off to become perfect for your body. I can't remember, so you have to research that. But fruit is the most hydrating thing, and coconut water is massively hydrating. Yep, a little bit of salt in sea salt in your water. I wouldn't use the pink.
No
Table salt. Or table salt. Yeah. So just sea salt. I'm going to show you guys a couple of photos. So water contains memory,
Mm.
and this is from, okay, so this is my hydrogen. That's too soon.
Mm.
Okay. All right. So Masaru, I think I'm totally messing up his name. Emoto did a study, and this was years and years ago. And he
Yeah.
wrote words on bottles of water, and these were glass jars. And as he did that, the ones that he wrote more negatively charged words on, when he froze it, it was yucky, right? So it doesn't crystallize properly, right? So
Interesting.
then, yeah, this one is scientists have shown that water has memory. So you can show water something like I don't know, an animal or letters, and instantly freeze it, and it will reflect whatever it was just shown. And Veda Austin is somebody that you want to look up if you want to see that, because she's done a lot of really cool work with it. And I don't know if she's the one who did the study, but I'm going to show you guys the water machine that I just got. And it is not one of those super expensive ones. I'm going to stop the share for a second and make sure that the volume is on.
It also works with sound too, like when they play nasty words to him or like talk to him nastily with music, with the water. It reflects on the way it looks as well. It's so interesting.
Because it's all frequency.
Vibration, right?
Mm-hmm. So here's my little water machine that I purchased. Water machine. And it starts out by making vortex water, which it's doing now. And then I'm probably going to do the H2 water higher. You could also do the standard, just depending on how much oxygen you feel like you need. We live at 8,500 feet, so I'm probably going to do the higher. And then this thing here is something I've had for about 15 years, and it's called iWater, and it single file aligns the water, which is really cool, and I definitely felt a difference with that, for sure. And then this was a gift, and there's crystals in there. So those crystals are quartz, and I noticed that the water is slightly sweeter with that. So I'll probably be using this when I take my hydrogen water with me, like if I go to town. So anyway, that is the scoop on the water stuff that I'm doing here at home. Okay.
No.
So I have purchased one of those $5,000 machines years ago when I couldn't afford it. So I went on a credit card. And it really did help for probably a year, maybe 6 months. And then it kind of got gummed up. Now you could pay to have it cleaned every year.
Yeah.
Because it had little electronic plates in it.
Okay.
But honestly, the one that I showed you that I've had for 15 years, the iWater, I felt just as good on that, and it doesn't have anything you need to clean.
Yeah.
And this other water, I really appreciated that as well. Like you could feel the oxygen in it, like it just tasted bubbly.
Yeah, no, I know the difference. You can taste the difference. We have a milkman that drops off spring water bottled from the source at the spring, and you can taste the activation, and it just feels lighter when you're drinking it. It just feels less heavy. With the lack of obviously the heavy metals and the toxins that are not in it, so it's more palatable on the body.
So that machine is about 300, which is to me totally worth it, because I won't have to buy as much coconut water, which is something that my husband is quite addicted to. And it's expensive, right? So it will actually save me money.
Yeah.
And it's not a massive expense. So, and fruit is amazing. My body wants a lot of fruit. But, and I find that drinking the hydrogen water on an empty stomach is good. But it does the vortex and it does the hydrogen. And I have a lot of weird things that I purchased something in Australia that is like this corkscrew thing that goes inside of your pipes, which I don't have right now, like it's packed away. And that creates vortex water for your entire house. Yeah. And so it breaks up the water molecules because potted water that comes out of a water tank or through your pipes is actually stagnant and clumps up. So getting it into the cell doesn't work as well because it's clumped.
100%.
So you're not actually getting hydrated. So you go and you drink like a liter of water and then you just go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
And you think, oh, I'm so hydrated because I went to the bathroom. But maybe you're not hydrated.
Mine was lack of electrolytes and salts. That was a big issue for me because I just drink the big bottles and I just constantly still feel thirsty and not understand why. So then I started to take electrolytes and magnesium, and my body responds a lot better now. I drink like half, if not 3/4 less than I used to, because my body's actually receiving the hydration it needs rather than just
Right. That's
know.
so important. So, if you want to just put a little salt in a couple of your glasses of water every day, a little bit of sea salt, that's going to help. Electrolytes are going to help. Eating fruit is going to help. So, but you have to kind of make sure that you get hydrated every day. One thing too, is if you're inflamed, that means you're dehydrated usually. So for me, I have to have potassium every day.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So that's part of my salt thing that wasn't working right. So every day I put cream of tartar in some sort of drink because cream of tartar is a great source of potassium and it's extremely cheap. Like I bought a pound of it, and I just put like a half a teaspoon of cream of tartar in some sort of drink and just drink it.
Nice. So you're
Yeah.
getting the potassium.
Yeah. So that's water is so important for us in general. But it really truly needs to be hydrating.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Baby kitten fly past.
Cute. But I don't know. I mean, really, that's the basics of water that I can think of. If you can get spring water, that's the best.
Yeah.
I would definitely filter your water if you're in town. So that little machine that I got takes all the chlorine out of your water, but we don't have chlorine in our water, so it doesn't really matter. We have well water, but if you can get the spring water up front, that's going to be better.
Yeah, 100%.
For you in general, because it's been vortexed. It's, it goes over the rocks and all that. So it creates that.
Yeah. And also just asking your body, like, is this the right vibration for me? Like we spoke before, the body knows best. And if you're concerned about it, raise the vibration of it. Especially if you're in like on holiday or staying away from home and you're not in your usual routine, or even if you're just like thirsty. I was in Spain, I was really thirsty a couple of times, obviously, and I had to drink. I would not drink the tap water there, obviously, but I drank the different types of branded bottled water that I probably wouldn't drink at home because I needed a drink, So yeah, I had to raise the frequency of the water and raise it to match me, which you can do often. So it's not that you can't use forms of hydration. It's just I would not recommend doing that all the time, because then that
Mhm.
starts to obviously have a physical toxification on your body. But it's definitely something you can do if you're temporary traveling, or away from home. The power of the connection to yourself and your vessel, and when you're drinking that water is really, really crucial as well.
It is, yeah. So, you can hold it in your hand. You can try and get glass if you can. Another thing too is bubbly water. So if it is not hydrogen water, but if it's truly sparkling, you don't want to have that with food because it
No.
screws up your stomach acid.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
struggle with that at a restaurant. I have to get pop and water, because if I'm eating and you drink the pop, it really creates a lot of acid, because it's the carbonated bubbles that are creating little air pockets in your stomach as you're eating with the food.
Yeah.
Creates more gas.
It messes everything up. So, and people had asked about reverse osmosis and distilled water. And those are okay as long as you put them through some kind of a process that makes them alive again. But you also need your minerals. So don't forget that, they have no minerals in them. But
Yeah.
if you have contaminated water, then you want to put it through reverse osmosis. Like some people have water that actually has parasites in it,
Yeah.
out
Well,
of their well. So then they would have to have a
like,
reverse osmosis
and then
machine.
put the minerals back in it so that it's got some goodness in it.
Mm-hmm. And minerals can interfere, like distilled water, minerals can interfere with certain processes. So, like, we are on solar here because we went off grid, and we have to put distilled water in the batteries. Now, I wouldn't drink it all the time, but I would also, you want to use like distilled water with your DMSO, which let us know underneath if you want to show about that. Because DMSO, I'm finding, which is pretty amazing for health, but it's been hidden for a long time. And it's something that my hippie parents were really into, which is so funny because they were into edible hydrogen peroxide and you know, and DMSO and all these things that, like, I didn't want anything to do with them when I was a kid. But now I'm finding out, oh, how did they even get that information? How did they know about this stuff back then?
Already connected, weren't they?
Yeah, they were very connected. So just thinking about the different uses, what are you going to use it for? If it's going to go in your body, make sure it's as close to some kind of living water as you can get.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. As long as it's activated, and talk to your water. Sing to it and talk to it. Ask it to bless your body with nutrients and hydration.
Yeah. Let it sit out in the sun.
Yeah.
You could put it in the window. You could have quart jars lined up and let it sit out in the sun and absorb all that energy, and then swirl it up before you drink it.
Mm-hmm. Or the moon.
Yeah, the moon. The moon is a
You
little
don't.
more weird, but
I work with the moon, but in my own intentional way. So
yeah,
I just use it for my own. I just like this, the feeling that is created on a nighttime. I quite
I
enjoy
do
that.
too. Twilight's my favorite.
I like that. So I use that time to create intentions and amplified energy, and to charge my water and crystals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's not just the moon that we have in our head that's there. There's more going on up there than we see.
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah.
So there is, like, there is energies charging the water. It's just I just only ask for the beautiful heart intention, and then that's what I use. But yeah, I think it is about intention with the night and the moon.
Yeah. Yeah. And even the sun too. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
awesome.
really. Yep.
Okay. Trisha's a bit like that though. She didn't really bond with the moon that much. I do, but Trisha's not.
Yeah. I got that the moon, and this is before, so because we're kind of in a different space right now, but before the moon was a satellite and it wasn't a real, like it was fake. So what we saw was fake. And it wasn't really doing anything except like it was a light bulb up there. So just like in the Truman Show, it was that kind of a moon. And that's where all the controllers were in the Truman Show.
Yeah,
So
there was yeah, and I do understand how people where that information comes. Like I do get that, but I do, and the stars and what have you. But I do think there is, like you say, beyond the illusion,
oh yeah.
energy you can tap into and use with a good intention. It's just like I just probably don't think about it too much in detail, but all I know is I use that twilight energy, like you say, and the amplification of energy in the nighttime with the right intention, and I do seem to resonate with that. So I think that's what I see as when people say, "Oh, working with the moon," because it is like when the certain times on the new moons and the full moons, like I feel completely heightened energy from the collective sometimes, and transmutation, and so there has to be an energetic value going on somewhere to do with the cosmic energies, because I feel it, and I know a lot of other people do at a similar time, and it gives me understanding when that happens. So that's why I think there must be something that resonates with me when we're talking about that, but I just don't think it's in the way we've been perceived.
No, it's not the way it's been perceived. And it also is a pattern, and we're used to patterns as a human. And so we actually anticipate and create a heightened energy as well.
Yeah.
So all the people that are listening to the astrology stuff, which I think it's awesome, but they're listening to it and then they're also creating it. They're like, oh, well, this is coming.
Yeah.
Let's make this happen. Because really, all in all, it just comes down to us.
Yeah, 100%. Because, well, I used to not necessarily not resonate with astrology. It doesn't necessarily, I don't not resonate with it. I just never felt drawn to learn more about it. But there is times in the month where I will just start to feel like, wow, I feel so intense right now. I wonder what's going on. And then obviously you check online and you see the posts and things like that about certain times of the month energetically. And I'm like, oh, it does make sense sometimes where when there's, for example, what they say, I don't know, retrogrades or amplification, I think they're like kind of solar flares and upgrades that are being sent through the frequencies that we feel on a mass collective level. But whatever way it's translated, the point is we're all feeling something, aren't we? So that's why everybody at the same time. So yeah, I think it's just about translation on that one, and how we interpret the words, the language used.
Exactly. And a lot of drama gets created over perception. You could actually be saying the exact same thing as somebody else, and it, the language messes it up. So then you're in some kind of conflict with them, having some kind of like drama, and really the whole time you were saying the same thing. And I think that's a human lesson that really is like prevalent right now for us to pay attention to.
It's about us being able, throat chakra blocked as I'm talking, us being able to articulate and deliver the information with emotional regulation and control, but then also people being able to receive reflections that may not necessarily be in their perception and understanding because it's coming from someone else's, reflection of their opinion, and being able to reflect on that without taking that in a state of heightened emotional dysregulation, because that is really the key. Is because it causes the disruption in our emotional regulation in self. It causes us to feel like that.
Yeah. Well, and what it comes down to is the memory in the cells that is contained in the water.
Yes.
Because you have those limiting beliefs that you're working through, and maybe somebody bumps one, and then you have a trigger that happens. So really water is massively important.
100%. And I use it in more like nature and connecting outside and cold water therapy. There's so many ways you can use it. It really is just like life force elixir, but also like it is such a powerful body in itself, and it has to be respected and honored.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. It's so important. So we can't live without it. At least the human body wouldn't. So yeah, we wouldn't be here. So this was beautiful, Anya. Thank you.
It was very beautiful. Thank you for
Yes.
having me on. I love
Thank
it.
you. Yeah, and we'll put Anya's links are going to be below. So
Yeah,
I'll
we'll
put
only
those.
for a limited time now until around late September. So if you do want to get booked in for any healing or channeling or readings, now is the time to do that. And yeah, and I will put all the information below.
Yeah,
But thank
you're going to be busy. Busy
you.
with the baby. Yay. Okay. All right. Thanks, everybody. Bye.